Hi guys, welcome to another episode. Today we're going to talk about why is it so useful to practice without the spring and which are the benefits to do these springless exercises that I've explained in other videos. Basically, we always thought about the pedal as being an external force and the stick being an extension of our arms instead. And instead, applying the hands technique to the feet motions and the feet techniques, I kind of figure out that the pedals are actually an extension of our feet, just as the sticks are an extension of our arms. So at that point, I thought there is no spring on the stick that helps us to play the upper part, the upper surfaces of the drums. And so I thought, since I found that the motions between our wrist, our ankle, our arm and legs were very similar to each other, I thought to try and get rid of the spring to see what would happen to literally imitate and emulate what I do with my hands on a snare drum or a tom or a floor tom, and what a pedal would do on the kick or on a pad or on a surface that has a decent rebound. So first of all, we have to understand and know that to be able to play and do exercises without the spring, we do need a surface that has a good rebound. We can't do these kind of exercises on a dead head or on a pad that doesn't have a decent rebound, because if not, we would need a lot of power to have just a little bit of rebound. So that's one thing that we have to make sure of before getting into practicing without the spring. Make sure that the gear that we have allow us to do so. If you don't have a pad that allows you to do that, you can tighten the head of a bass drum like to the max, or to the point where you see that the beater has a good rebound without with the pedal without the spring. And so at that point you're set to start working without the spring. The first approach that I usually see when I do this with my students is that they press and kill the bouncing of the pedal. It just goes, the beater goes in the pad and then it doesn't come back. That's the first step to understand that we're not using the pedal as an extension of our body, but we are just dealing with the pedal in a way that we want to totally control it, and we don't even think about the spring. The spring just becomes something that we're working against. It's just something that is challenging our strength, basically. Instead, if we start working on the rebound and accepting and giving space to the pedal to bounce back, that means that we're starting to work more with the pedal, and or at least with the rebound. Okay, we're leaving space to the rebound just as we do with our hands. We always have to compare this to what happens with our hands. So if we choke the stroke with you know, on a snare or on a floor tom, we would choke the sound, we won't benefit of the rebound and all that stuff. Over here, same thing. If we work on choking the motion, we're just being physical, and we don't take advantage of using the rebound, so making the pedal work instead of our body completely. Then another thing that I see once my students start to accept more and give more freedom to the pedal is that they start to tap the pedal. And this means that we're not working synchronized to the pedal, because it means that once we tap the pedal, our foot comes back way faster than what the pedal does. And this is something that would work. Problem is that if we get used to doing this, when we'll get the spring back up, there is way more pressure from the spring than just the rebound of the beater, and we will find ourselves still working against, you know, the pedal, because it means that we get used to pushing down the pedal while the pedal is coming back up, so we create this, you know, contrast, and it's just something that will give us a hard time. So second step is to learn and understand how to wait for the pedal and follow the pedal to come back, so that we're synchronized. Okay, so this is very different from this. This is getting used to playing with the pedal synchronized. Okay, so synchronizing the motion of our ankle, and I'm talking about ankle motion here and not leg motion, even though we can also do the same, apply the same concept with the leg motion. But usually it's the ankle motion that gives problems when we put the spring back up, because the weight of the leg or the strength of the leg, it always beats the spring tension. There's no problem with that. Okay, the problem starts when we shift to the ankle motion, because the spring is a very strong force. Okay, so the benefit of playing without the spring, we already here we can understand that it's making sure that we can get used to the pedal and synchronize to the pedal and be more sensitive towards the pedal. Okay, second benefit is the speed. The spring has its own speed based on how we set it. Okay, so if it's very tight, and it will be very fast. If it's loose, it will be a bit slower, but it has its own speed, and we have to deal with this speed. We can go slower of the speed of the spring just controlling with the ankle, because it would be too much effort to deal with, so we have to switch to a leg motion. And when we shift to this ankle motion, we already have to start from the 0 point of the spring tension. Instead, without the spring, we can go as slow as we want and really break down the motion and getting used to this, and still having the time to concentrate on our body motions, and not having to already respond and deal with a certain speed that the pedal or the spring requires us to have. Okay, so benefit number 2, being able to practice very slow, breaking down the motions and still concentrating on our body. These are benefits that will really change the game, change your playing once you get comfortable with. So being synchronized to the pedal means once we put the spring back up, not having all that physical approach to the pedal anymore, or to the spring. So instead of playing like this, pressing down, putting a lot of effort for a little result, we can let the pedal work more, because we take advantage of the spring, because we get used to, without the spring, we get used to having the pedal working for us, and we just have to slightly keep the pedal active. So it's a great benefit to get rid of all this physical effort and let the pedal work, let the spring do the job. Okay, so it's a great benefit for speed, for power, for control. Second benefit is to practice very slow, as I just mentioned. So being able to break everything down and make sure that we're doing the right thing, focusing on our body motions. Third benefit is to master every technique, master whatever we're doing. So once we have the motions going and we understand in the technique, learning the techniques especially, we understand the body motions, it's good to have that moment where we synchronize that body motion to the pedal. So for example, if I have to learn the heel toe, I understand that this is the motion for the heel toe. Before going on the pedal, apply it, and having the spring already requiring me a certain speed and a certain pressure, I can go here and see how this motion reacts on the pedal. And respecting the pedal, meaning leaving the pedal the freedom of moving, synchronizing my body to the pedal, so the motions that I'm doing, start slowly, then speed it up, and getting to a point which is going to be the 0 point of the spring. So I can go from, let's say that the speed of the spring would be a 4 out of 10, I can go from 0 to 4 as a speed, and then from 4 I can put the spring back up and start from 4 and speeding it up. Then of course the spring will help us to speed it up and do part of the job, but it will help us. It won't challenge us. It won't be something that we have to deal with, that we have to press and make all this fatigue against, but it's going to be something that we take advantage of and that we work with and not against. So it's, I think, perfect, because we have more power, more control with 1/5 of the physical effort that I used to do. Working without the spring, in my opinion, or at least for me, has been game-changing. I really understood how to deal with the pedal in every technique, and I really understood the role of the spring, and it relaxed me, and it relaxed all my motions. It gave me way more control of the playing, like playing the pedal, the kick, every kind of like technique or independence stuff, speeding up, slowing down. It really helped me in every situation. So I really suggest you guys to try to do this. Make sure that the gear that you're using allow you to play without the spring, and then start from the most simple things. Start from the leg motion, understanding if we are, working with the pedal, or we're just pressing the pedal down, if we're tapping the pedal, so not being synchronized. Then switch to ankle motion, and switch to all the techniques, and just feel it, understand how it can benefit your playing, and if it will correct all your motion. It's a great tool also to master, to understand if you're actually you're applying the body motions that you should do in the right way on the pedal, or you're working with certain body motions without the pedal and then just applying them like with a lot of effort because of the spring on the pedal. So it really will allow you to understand and correct all your body motions on the pedal directly. So I suggest you to try it. I'm pretty sure it will be game-changing for all your fit technique and for understanding how a pedal works and the role of the spring and spring settings and all that stuff. So have a good practice, and I'll see you next time.